See now, in the previous, if you see it, x equal to 8, I have been given it. Now, if I given it x equal to 10, now the value will be updated to 10 directly. Go to that particular code, Shiva.
Okay.
Go to that particular program. Anything? Yes. If you click, if you see here over here is given me the control. So give me the control. So if you see here now, when if I wanted to, so now the value of x will be printing over here, right? So now I don't know what is the value of x it will be printing. So now I'll keep that the same x value equal to 100, and then I'll print that s by s. So and then x. So if you see here now, what it will happen. So if you can see it, so when the summation of this one, it comes around me 170. But now what I have done for the x value, I have been assigned for 100. So now when I printed the 100, it was printing me 100. That's it. So now it was pointing to the same memory allocation, and then it was pointing to do that. So now what we wanted to understand is, so we would be using an assignment operator. So when we assign that particular operator, so now the right-hand side value will be assigned to the left-hand side value. So this is how this particular thing would be assigned. Are we clear on this? Any questions?
Yes.
So now if you see here, so now what is the definition of a variable? If someone asks you what is the definition of a variable, means variable is a container where we can store the different values of a different data types. It's a temporary storage unit. So where we can store the values. That's it. So now if at all I wanted to store different values, see now, first of all, now we wanted to, first we understand what is a variable. Now, what are the different type of variables are there, or different types of data types we have? Soumya?
Yeah, sir.
Yes.
Variables, we have string, int, float, character, and Boolean.
See, it's data types. Okay, you need to mention it as a different data types.
Yeah, different data types.
It's an int and a float and
character.
See, char,
Boolean.
Boolean,
String.
And arrays, that it will come into a different structure, but it can be called as a different data type. So, okay, so always you should remember that if you go for, can you stop sharing the screen?
Okay.
So if you take in this, so I'll take from this Java tutorials itself so that it will be easy for the explanation. So now first you need to understand that what are the different data types we do have it. So now when it comes to the different data types, so here we will be having two categories of data types are there. So one is primitive data type and non-primitive data types. Now in the primitive data type, it would be having short, so byte, short, int, long, double, so float, double, Boolean, and char. So these are the 8 different type of data types which we have it in the primitive data type. And in non-primitive data types, we will be having strings, arrays, and then classes. Now, what is this particular string and how to work on this one, arrays and classes? These are our further topics. So we will not discuss about this one in now. So we will be discussing about this particular 8 different type of data types. Okay. So first, to understand this one, let's jump one by one and then we can talk about this one. Now, before that, we're going to here. So Divya, can you tell me what is the size of an integer?
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Size of the integer is 4 bytes, sir.
Okay. Shruti K.
32 bits. Yes, sir.
Shruti K, can you tell me what is the size of a float?
It's 4 bytes, 8 bytes, sir.
4 or 8 bytes?
8.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
What is the size of a double?
Size of double is 8 bytes and size of float is 4 bytes. Double stores up to the decimals of 15 and the float stores up to the size of 8 decimals.
Okay. So Pramila, can you tell me what is the difference between an int and float?
Integer is the only numbers are 0 to 9, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's like float is the 0.5. It will take point numbers.
Okay. I'm asking, okay, int and long. What is the difference between an int and then long?
Long is large value. It will take the large value.
Okay. Can you tell me the size of an integer and the size of a long?
Size of integer is 4 bytes.
Uh-huh.
Size of long is 8 bytes.
Okay, what is the size of short?
2 bytes.
Okay. Balakrishna, can you tell me what is double?
Sir? Sir?
I'm waiting for the answer, Balakrishna.
Sir, I'm not audible, sir.
You're audible. I'm asking what is the answer. Okay, tell me what is the question.
What is double? No?
Yes, then give me the answer.
Sir, it stores the functional values, functional numbers.
What do you mean by functional numbers? Can you share your screen?
Yes, sir.
Show your Eclipse. Show me the implementations. Show me the double data type. What is this?
Double programs, double data type.
Explain me the program.
Sir,
Explain me the program.
which is double number minus 42, 42.3, sir. This is functional number.
Functional number. What do you mean by functional number?
So it's fractional number with the negative values.
You're saying functional number. Is it a functional number or a fraction number?
Fraction number is also functional number. Sir.
What do you mean by
But-
functional number then?
No, sir, I'm not idea about that.
You're only saying it, right? There is no functional numbers on there. It was a fractional number.
Yes, sir.
So fractional number, what do you mean by fractional number?
Fractional number have a sir.
What do you mean by fractional number?
Fractional number is nothing but a ratio number. Ratios. Like 2.5, 2.5. These are the fractional numbers.
See, always you need to remember one thing. So first understand the basics, Balakrishna, when you're talking. So ratios are different. Fractional numbers are different. Fractional numbers are which it consists of the decimal pointers or precision numbers. The decimal point numbers are 42.3. So now it is a fraction number. So because it have the decimal values, the number which consists of a fraction number, then that is called as a decimal values. See, stop sharing the screen. Yes, these see basic things. See, I know that from the point of Java, I can get into the basics and then I'll explain. But few other basics you need to read and come back. And always you remember. So now these are really, really very, very important to understand. And these particular sizes and everything. So these are the quick questions in your interviews. So you shouldn't forget this one. So don't get confused. So always you remember that. See, now these all belongs to the means absolute number. So now absolute numbers are the whole numbers. I didn't share the screen. Okay, so you can see it now, right? So now these are all absolute numbers. Absolute numbers are whole numbers. Like for an example, 0 or 100 or 200 or 2000 or whatever the things are there. So this is called as absolute numbers. And these are decimal numbers. So the fraction numbers. The fraction numbers are nothing but it will have the decimal values. After dot, you will be having the precision values. So either you can say decimal values or the precision values, precision numbers. So now, what are the differences between this one is? Now the first, you can remember in a way that BSIL. So now BSIL. So BSIL. So now byte. You always remember this would be storing the 1 byte, and short it will store 2 bytes. Integer 4 bytes, and this will store 8 bytes. 1, 2, 4, 8. Okay, so BSIL. So it is like a BSIL. So now always you remember now 1 by 2 bytes, 4 bytes, and 8 bytes. Now why it required 8 bytes? Because when you are having an integer, if you have a long value, for an example, if you wanted to store a credit card number, you know, right? For the credit card number or debit card number, you will have 16 digits. To store that particular 16-digit number values, we'll be using the long. And this is what the value. You want ask us to remember this particular value? Absolutely not. But at least you should know how many digits we can store it in with this one. So above 16 digits, if you have it, so now we will be using it for long. With int, you can't store 16 digits. Now we have integer. With is so okay. Int is different, integer is different. Okay, so that's an integer is a different class. Okay, don't worry about that one. As of now, understand this is an int. Int now it have 4 bytes. Now which value it can store in this particular thing is minus 2 to the power of e to the 2 to the power of 8 to minus 2 to the power of 8 to minus 2 to the power of plus 8. So this is where the ratio of this particular value will be lying after here. So now any value from minus 2 after 8 digits and to the plus 8 digits, it can store that particular value in the integer. And if at all you wanted to store from minus 32,000 to 768 to 32,767, so then you will be using short. And byte minus 128 to 120 means 127. See, usually in our programs we will not use this 2 because directly by default we will use integer because our values will be lies in between this one only. In very rare cases we'll go for long, but you should understand the memory management system or the memory spaces for this one. Next, float. Where if you see where we will be using float and where we will be using double. If you have more than 7 decimal pointers, then that would need to be stored into double. Because double can support till 50 decimal pointers, means 15 precision values. Whereas float can store only 7 decimal values. So that is the difference between a float and then double. Now, when it comes to the Boolean, so it will take 1 bit. You see it right here, 1 byte. 8 bits equal to 1 byte. Now Boolean, so Boolean stores only 2 values. One is true or another is false, on or off, or 1 or 0. So this is called Boolean values. So now, so this particular Boolean values would be stored, it will take the size of 1. Always remember, size of an integer, size of a float would be 4, 4. Long 8, double 8. Because you should understand this particular memory sizes, Then only you will understand what is meant by typecasting. So that is a reason. So you should know about this particular long, float, double, Boolean, and all these particular values. Okay. So and then char. So this would be for the ASCII values. So or a single character. If you wanted to store a B or some ASCII values would be there. See, ASCII values are completely different. So I'll not get. I don't want to confuse you, but I just wanted to show you how the ASCII values. Every letter will have an ASCII value. So the ASCII values, you can see it. For an example, now these are the ASCII values. You can see it for A. This is what 0x41 is an ASCII value. Why we should have this one? So this is one of the conversion. So conversion of this particular values into the ASCII. So now what do you mean by ASCII values and how it would be done? All those things you don't get it into it. So if you wanted to store this particular character values, so this would be stored in the char. Like if you wanted to store in this way, so that you can, if you wanted to store D, this is a value which you'll be storing into the char so that it would be stored back. So if you wanted to see these particular exercises, so definitely you can go here and then you can try it out to see here so that you can see on here. So now for an example, I wanted to store my values. You can see grade B. So it was trying to store that particular value. So now you can go here and try out. So you can see that. So this is the reason I asked you to prepare and run your complete exercises here so that you can easily see over here now. So the value of this one is B. So that is how we need to store the different data types over here. So now we have been seen that there are 8 different data types: byte, short, int, long, float, double, Boolean, char, and what are the sizes of them and what is the values it can store into this particular integers. What is the minimum value? What is the maximum value which it can be stored into that particular values. So that is what we have been discussed. So any other questions? You can see it right in byte. I'm storing 100 because the range of this one is 127 to 20, minus 128 to 127, and the short. So now the short, so minus 32,000 to this one. So now the range of this one is this particular 500. And if we wanted to see the integer, so now this is the size of an integer. So this minimum range is this, maximum range is this. So that's the middle value which we have been given it. And this is for the long. You have been given this one. So then we'll be storing for this. And always you remember that this is the catch over here. So when you are storing the long digits, so you need to give that, hey, we are going to tell the compiler that hey, this is a long value and it should end with L. Many of the people will miss this one. Okay. And then it's the latest versions of Java, it will work, but few sometimes will have this particular problem. Okay. And then without these values can be printed. Yes, it will be printed because of the latest versions, but still you need to take care of this. And the float number. So now if you see here, this is the decimal pointer which we wanted to give it. And this is the double. And this is a don't go for the scientific numbers and this all. So this would be into, we have that E, right? So E, M, so to the power of indicate of 10. So those values will be the right scientific numbers. So I'll not get into that particular things because I just wanted to let you know from the basic point of use and how it can be stored off. So are you, as we discussed, if you see here, byte, short, int, long. So these are the integer type values, and then these are the fractional pointers we will be having it. So this is called as float and double. So, and we have been discussed Boolean. So Boolean will be having a true or false. So now this is true and this is false. So it will take either one value. And char, so we have been seeing now, you can take any particular char value and then you can print out for this one. So if you wanted to see here, now how these values are printed here, because that is what the ASCII values of this one. If you see here, my var 1, 65, 66, 67. I given 65, 66, 67, how these values are printing it. So now that would be converted into this particular char values, and then that particular char values would be printed back. So don't get confused with this particular char and all. So it is not really required, but for your understanding, in a char, what we can give it. So that is what you need to see it. Now, if I wanted to give a group of words, now if it's a single word, that's okay. Now, if I wanted to give any particular names or anything, how I need to give it? So just you need to give in double quotes, and that double quotes, which you need to mention this as string. And all these things will be started with a small letter. You see it, char, int, float, double, all things will be started. But here, this will be started with a capital letter. Which will be started with the capital letters?
String.
String. Primitive, non-primitive.
Classes will start with the capital letters, right? Classes in the project names. As string is a class, it will start with a capital letter. Okay, all non-primitive data types are classes. So that's the reason those will start with the capital letters. Arrays and all. Okay, so there would be a few differences are there. So, but I'll leave this one to read you and then come back. Okay, but overall, so you need to understand so how these particular data types are there, and the data types are classified into primitive data types, non-primitive data types, and how the primitive data types will be there and non-primitive data types will be there. Okay. Until here, any questions on this? The variables, data types, and how to give the comments? What is the shortcut key?
For single liner, we have to give double forward slash. For multiple line, forward slash and star mark, and between that and the closure will be star mark and forward slash.
So what would be the shortcut key for that?
Control
Control
forward slash.
forward slash.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay, so fine. So however, so here, okay, what is the difference? Did you gone through the differences between primitive and non-primitive? Anyone? What is the difference between a primitive data type and non-primitive data type? See, if you go here in the same way, we have this one. And it is very simple. No, even it's not a big complicated. So if you see here, by default, say primitive types will be available in Java. When Java created at that time itself, they have been defined the primitive data types. But non-primitive data types are defined by the programmers, not by Java. Like strings, arrays, and all. Now, primitive data types always have a value. Non-primitive data types can have the null value. Means for strings, we can have null value also. And primitive data types will start with the lowercase. I told you, right? All things in the lowercase. This will be in uppercase. And the size of a primitive data types are depend upon the data type. So we have been seeing that particular sizes, right? So for integer, 4 bytes. For long, 8 bytes. So for float, 4 bytes. And for double, it is 8 bytes. And while non-primitive types have all the same sizes. So now for string or anything, arrays, it will have the similar size. So what is a string? How we will be using it? What is an array? How we'll be using it? So those are our next two topics. Will be very detailed. We'll be discussing here. If you see here, these are the strings and these are the arrays.
Sir, same non-primitive types have all the same size, means it has some fixed values of size.
When we come to the strings, you'll understand that. So that is what I'm telling you. It will be further, it will be continued with us. So there we'll discuss on this one. So how it will have the same size. Because for that one, you should understand the memory cycle. So the string pools and all things you need to understand. That we will discuss as part of our therapy. So as of now, so now whatever the things are there from the primitive type, you can understand on this one. Any more questions? Okay, so now we have been done with the variables, comments, and then it is a basic Java outputs which we have been high level program. So how we'll be getting it, we have been seeing it. And then we wanted to go for the typecasting. Now, so Swapna, you wanted to share the screen?
Yes.
So what is typecasting?
Converting one data types to the another type.
So how many data types we have? So how many types in the typecasting?
2 types.
Cool. So Hemant, can you tell me what are the different types in the typecasting?
Widening casting and narrowing casting.
What do you mean by widening?
It converts smaller type to larger type, and narrowing that converts larger type to smaller type, smaller size type.
Cool. Awesome. See guys, then the name itself, it will be saying that typecasting. See, casting is nothing but changing from one form to another form. You remember, right? Iron cast, mold casting means they will make the iron into liquid form and then convert into different molds. Now casting, when it comes to the widening, so widening means, now for an example, the road is like this. Now we are trying to do the road widening. So now we will make this particular road widening. Narrowing. So now we have a bigger road. Now from bigger road, you're going to go for a smaller road. So now this is narrowing and this is widening, right? Now if you see here, so from small, it was going to big, small to big, and from big to small. That's it. Now, if you understand your these things, the sizes of this one, the size of this one is byte 2, 1, 2, 4, 1 to 1 byte, 4 bytes, 8 bytes, 4 bytes, 8 bytes. So now this is how you would be moving this. So now if you see here from smaller, if you wanted to convert into the different things, then it will be converted into this, then this will be called as a widening casting. And the narrow casting is nothing but from the bigger type to the smaller type. If you have been converted, then this will be called as a narrow casting. So typecasting is nothing but, so typecasting is converting from one data type into another data type. So now you can see it, right? Converting the primitive data types from one data type to another data type. So this is called casting. So this casting will have in a different ways in Java. So we have another concept also called as upcasting and downcasting. So however, when we go there, we will discuss about this particular pointer. I'm sorry. Discuss about this particular pointer. So now this is what called as casting. Okay. So now what you mean by upcasting and downcasting? Okay, sorry. Now widening casting and narrow casting. And there are multiple things are there, but at least as of now, what you can understand is you need to understand what means converting from one data type to another data type. So how we can doing it. So that is what we wanted to understand. And here there are certain topics like auto casting, auto boxing, and all these things are there. Don't get into those things as of now, because to do that one, you should know what is a object and how to create an object, via objects it would be created back. But as of now, you can just think that, hey, this is my double value. I wanted to convert my double value into the integer. How I can convert that? So that you just understand. And hey, why I need to give this int here and why I need to give hint here. What is this particular auto means, how it was converting auto, and manual casting. So here both are same only, right? I just taken double. So now I wanted, this is my data type name and this is my, what is this? Huh?
Variable name.
This is variable name. So data type name, variable name, and this is what value. The value is 9. So now 9 is there. I was trying to convert this one into this one. So now I'm not giving anything. So directly I given the value so that it automatically converts here, and then it was printing for me. See, when I printed the integer, it printed me 9. And when I printed my double, it was printed in the fractional point. So this is auto conversion. Now, when it comes to the manual conversion, so now if you see here, now this is what is this?
Data type.
Data type.
Data type name.
Variable.
This is data type name, and this is variable name.
Variable.
And then this is value.
Value.
So now when this value going to store here. Now this is the value we have been given it. And we are saying, manually saying that, hey, convert this one into the integer. And then here we have been given int data type and then the variable name. So now when we have been printed for this one, so this is the values it was printing for. And why we need to give this int? So automatically I can do this one. So what is the requirement of giving this particular int? There are certain theory and background is there. As of now, it is not required. When we started to talk about the objects and all these things, there we'll discuss about. If at all required, we'll discuss there. Okay, so this is how the casting would be done. Now you can clearly understand widening means smaller to bigger and bigger to small. If you converted any particular, see now, it's not only from primitive, even in the non-primitive also we can convert primitive to non-primitive, non-primitive to primitive, means integer to string, string to integers, float to string, float to integer, or float to integer, or float to string, anything can be converted. So now these are regular things which you will be doing in your coding. So now, but you should know what you meant by a typecasting. If someone asks you, first tell me what you meant by typecasting, you should be able to answer that. Typecasting is nothing but converting one data type to another data type. This is called typecasting. In typecasting, I have two ways. One is widening typecasting, narrow cast. So widening is nothing but from smaller to bigger. If you change that particular data type, then this is called widening casting. And smaller to bigger, bigger to smaller. So now narrowing means from bigger to the smaller, I'll be converting it. So then that is called narrow casting. And here we will be having the auto boxing or auto conversion and the manual conversion. Auto conversion means automatically it will convert. Manual means we need to mention that particular data type on your RHS. So reason I didn't give it, but still, so we will wanted to specifically specify what data type it need to be converted. We are specifying that. So this is called, so that means the manual conversion and then auto conversion. So this is how the narrow casting and then widening casting would be working for us. Any questions in this typecasting?
Sir, I have a doubt, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, when I am converting from widening casting from byte to character, I was unable to convert. And if I'm putting like char in and right half of a right side, then it is executing in widening casting.
See, don't play with a char. I told you, right? Char would be taking care of the ASCII values. Don't try to see now. If you wanted to store a particular value, just store it. So usually what the conversion will happen is int to float, float to int. This is the maximum thing which you will do it here.
Okay.
Not more than that. Because always char, what it will do, do you remember previously what we have did? That will convert into that ASCII values. So it will take that ASCII value and it will print that values. Now when you're doing it for bit and then char, definitely there will be a lot of confusions will happen. So don't play byte and char. This is not at all required. We will not use it all. Just for your information only, we need to use it. Because the memory management will play a vital role for this particular typecasting. So now what it need to do, it need to change from lower. So you can see that how we are giving this ascending order or descending order by the basis of the sizes. Of your the data types. Now in this also, you need to cleverly choose which one we need to convert and which one we not to do. Usually we will convert integer and the float. That's it. Or from integer to string, or from float to string, or string to integer or float values. This is what we will be converting. Other will not do it. And especially when you wanted to do with the char and byte, there is a lot of theories you need to understand them. So now what is an ASCII value and how the ASCII values will be converted into a byte level. So those all things you need to see it. Don't get into that now as of now.
Okay.
Good. Any other pointers? Okay, Hafiz, share the screen. Hafiz, you there? Okay, the next one is the arithmetic operators. What do you mean by arithmetic operator? If you're speaking, you're on mute. I asked you a question.
Arithmetic means it's like a subtraction, division, and multiplication.
So
All
those,
calculations.
Those are called as arithmetic operators.
Sure.
Okay, and first of all, you need to maintain the code readability. You see, everything is starting from here. This shouldn't be not the alignment. So now always you remember that. See, click on here, Control A, anywhere. You click on this and Control A, Control Shift F. See now it is aligned or not. Control Shift F or Control A. You can go for edit, not edit, source, and here have the format. You format it. Now you see how neat it was formatted. This gives the readability of it.
Okay, sir.
So now let me see. Now this is a very simple things. So I don't need to explain this one too much, but still. So now in the arithmetic operator, can you share the complete screen? I will stop sharing and then share the complete screen. You're able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Sir, are you able to see my screen?
I'm able to see, but I'm not able to operate the things. Take my, give me control.
Yes, sir, I given.
Not able to operate it. Anyone else can share the screen? Okay, see, it is very simple. So I don't want to spend more time on this particular arithmetic operators. So now, if at all you wanted to add something, so now you wanted to add a particular numbers, addition. So now you'll be giving it A plus B plus C. Now, always you remember that you have been given the values A plus B plus C. So now this would be an addition operator. Okay, and here if you see here, you are trying to add a string and then this particular value. So this is then at this time this particular plus symbol will call as a concatenator operator. Concatenating, merging or adding two things is called concatenating. See, integer if you are using it, so now it will sum up that particular values. But external when you are using, it's not about the braces external. So now if you have been, there is no value, any particular value. So then at that point of time, if you wanted to combine two strings, for an example, now I wanted to combine another string saying that value is. So now if you see here, I'm combining the two values here. And you see it. So now I wanted to add this particular string value with an integer value. I just given add, it gone. So now if I executed this one, you can print out that particular thing here. So now you can see it, addition value is, it will come. You can see here, addition value is 143. So this is how this concatenator operator will help you. to append two strings or to append with a string plus an integer value. So now when we work with the strings, you will understand this one. But however, as it is there, I was just trying to explain it. So arithmetic operator addition. So now just it will take this one and then it will go ahead with this. And then subtraction. So the subtracted value. So now from A, it removes the B, and from B value, it removes the C. Always you remember that we need to know the Podamas. What do you mean by Podamas? Podamas rule.
Bodmas rule.
Badmas rule, sir.
So always
First
remember that.
brackets will be resolved.
So we need to understand that when stop sharing the string. So no, this is not related to Java at all. So these are related to your basic math. Stop sharing Hafiz. So now if you go here, now this is what your BODMAS rule. So the BODMAS rule will talk about first one, brackets, ordering, division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. So how it will take the priority of the things. You should really understand this. If you don't have that particular thing, so you can't do that. So now here, these are the, see now, if you have it, so first it will, if you see here, now how this particular value would be multiplied or subtracted. You can see it, right? So division means multiplication, subtraction. If you have this one, so first it will be, the 4 would be there. Now first, what are the values it will be done? So now first division. It gives the first priority for the division. 15 means 5 divided by 3. So now it will be having 3. Okay, and then multiplication. So 3 divided by 3 into 4, 12. Minus it is. See, if you see that this 2 to 10, it was remaining same because the first importance has been given for division. Second, it has been given for multiplication. Next, it will be given it for addition. Next, it will give for the subtraction. And then for the particular, anyways, it's the brackets is outside 4, right? And this value multiply this 70 with 2 is a value you'll be getting it. Always you remember this BODMAS rule. So when you are writing in this one in your programs, so the BODMAS rule is very, very important. So first it takes the bracket, order, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. So according to this mass, always you remember BODMAS. So now multiplication, first division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. This is the order which it will perform. Okay, so according to this, you guys need to give your priority on this. Cool. So now just open and share. Anyone can share the screen. So now here, if you see here, so this is how we have been done with the arithmetic operator. Plus, minus, into, division. Now when you divide it, what is the value you will get it? Run it. Run it, yes.
Save and run once.
Already saved. See, if it is not saved, you'll have the star mark here. The file, see, always you need to remember. So in the file, here you'll have a star mark. Okay, run this program. Are you running it?
Yes, sir. But I think it didn't work.
Okay, so go to the top now. Okay, now if you see here in the arithmetic operator, a plus b, a minus b, a into b, division. So now 20 divided by 5, you got 4. Right? Now what do you mean by modulus?
It gives the reminders.
See, always you need to remember. I'm telling you, right? So this is your basic third, fourth class math. So you need to understand this one. So for an example, now you wanted to divide something. So 5 divided by 20, right? 5 4s are 20, and you'll get the value of 0. Now this is called reminder. Always you remember, reminder is called the modulus. And what is this? What is this? This is called quotient.
Quotient.
So the quotient value will be displayed for the division. So this is divisor value. So now this is the dividend value. So now we need to remember, see, these values are okay, but quotient value will be there, which it will be printed when you divided it. And modulus, it will print me the remainder values. And increment and decrement is nothing but plus a, means it will increment this one. Actually, there is a lot of differences there, plus a and a plus. So when we do the for loops, you'll understand the difference between this. When we go for the loops, we'll discuss over there. Okay, so now a plus a, and the same way, means the value would be incremented. Now for an example, the values, okay, the values will be calculated here. Now whatever the value of a, okay, I think the value would be same here because the a, we are having nothing to be stored, right? So now a plus means it will go for 21 and a minus means it comes for 19. So this is how these values will be dependent. So this is called arithmetic operator. Sorry, arithmetic operators. With the help of arithmetic operator, plus minus into multiplication division, this will happen. Any questions in the arithmetic operators?
Sir, I have doubts.
Tell me.
Sir, in the decrement we got to 19, sir, but here it is 20 value.
Okay, you need to understand one point here. Now what it happened? Plus a value became 21.
Yes,
now
sir.
from 21, the value should be decrement here. So now what it will happen? It will come 20 only, right?
Okay, sir. If it is, I mean, first we inserted minus, then it will take only 19 value. After that, it will add, it will become 20.
Yes, that's it. Try it out.
Okay.
So this is how the arithmetic operators will be. Stop sharing, Shruti.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so tomorrow I'll continue back from the comparative operator or the logical operators which we wanted to discuss, so that we will discuss tomorrow. Now what I wanted from you for tomorrow is strings and math, Boolean. These three things you should complete it. Strings, math, Boolean. Go for each and every example, try to print all. And this will have different methods are there. Means the length of the string, means how many characters are there here. It will print that one, the length of the string. 2 uppercase, it will convert everything into uppercase. 2 lowercase, it will convert into the lowercase. These are the direct methods available. So now you wanted to see the index of this one. Locate. So what is the index of this? It will give it to you. What do you mean by index? You just read it over there, you try to do it. Now here, concatenation, numbers and string, special characters. You need to use this. And what this slash meant, double slash meant. So just you explore on this and come back. And on strings itself, you do have another things which is tutorial point. Actually, strings are much more better here to try it out. So this particular thing, so you can see here strings. Somewhere else, strings. Okay, now you can see what means complete level of methods are there. You can see it, right? You don't touch this one. Okay, so string buffer, string builder. So these things we will discuss later. But what is a string? Immutable string, string comparison, string concatenation, substring, and still substring. You guys need to look at this one tomorrow. And the methods are here. You can see all these particular methods. All methods here. Okay. So this is from the Java point. You need to go through. So I'm thinking over here. So on strings, complete the complete strings. And here also you'll be having the basic strings over here. So that complete the strings here and there. Math and Boolean, these are very simple. So true and false, and then math functions will be there. So which is min max values, means which is a maximum value, 5, 10, which is maximum value, 5 is bigger. So 10 is bigger. So min value, so 5 is min value. Square root of 64, you'll get it. And absolute value of this one, you get it. Random number, you'll get it. So these are very quick methods, because in Java, these all methods are already there. So you should know how to use that particular methods. So now what is math? What is math? Math is a class because it starts with a capital letter. You understand, math is a class. Don't worry, when we come here, we will talk about what is classes, objects, and everything here we'll be discussing it. So class will consist of multiple methods. So now these methods we do have it. So usage of these methods which you wanted to do it. Okay. So strings, math, and Boolean. So Booleans, nothing but, I told you, right? Yes, no, on, off, true or false. So this would be not taking much time for you to implement it. So this exactly 5 to 10 minutes you can complete it, but you need to spend at least 1 hour on strings. So probably 1.5 hours you need to spend on this one. And once again, I'm saying it. So if you don't do it, this will impact our velocity at any cost. So you need to do this and come back for tomorrow's session at morning 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock would be